Tell us a bit more about what we've learned and what could happen next week, potentially.
Yeah, this one has been sort of simmering for quite some time. And the question really is sort of where was Biden going to go with this ongoing review, which is really, taken almost 2 years. And the top line here is that they are going to add new higher tariffs on certain key sectors. We do not know the full list. We know the list includes things like electric vehicles, like some batteries, as well as solar cells, and potentially other items. What they're also not doing is really making broad-scale adjustments, according to our sources at least, the White House is declining comment, to existing 301 tariffs. And that sort of takes off the table a scenario where the White House might have raised some, lowered others, and come out as a wash across the board. So it doesn't look like they're doing that. But what they are doing is rejecting the sort of across-the-board hikes that Trump is talking about as he campaigns to retake the presidency. Of course, he's talking about 60% tariffs on all Chinese imports. A lot of Democrats think that would simply stoke inflation. They don't want to do that. Instead, we're seeing this more targeted approach. So EVs, certain things around batteries, solar cells, that's certainly what we're looking at. Looking for more detail. We also, of course, don't know what the new tariffs will be, how significant an increase we're talking about. But, politically speaking, you can see sort of a path here where this is a lot about the U.S. auto sector, which has a lot of, political influence, is stationed in really essential states for the election this fall. Excuse me. So Biden looks to be sort of getting out ahead of it, out of a sort of addressing a fear among many U.S. politicians that Chinese electric vehicles were about to flood the market.
Josh, the so-called the Section 301, of course, the tariffs. Josh, we mentioned this earlier on. Do we have a better? So next week, is that likely? Is it likely it gets pushed back? What are the probabilities of the wins here, when we might actually see this come to fruition?
As of now, we're told Tuesday. To use a Charlie Brown analogy, Lucy has pulled this football out a lot in the last couple of months. So I suppose anything can change. But as of now, we understand it's Tuesday. And there's political pressure here, right? Trump is hitting the campaign trail and really sort of banging the drum over needing to do more on China. And there's broad bipartisan consensus in the U.S. right now about that, which is another way of saying that Biden won't get a lot of pushback for these moves, either from within his own party or from Republicans. And so he has been sort of, cooking this up for a while. He gave a teaser of it a couple of weeks ago when he did an event in Pittsburgh and called for an increase in tariffs on Chinese steel and aluminum, specifically products that were currently tariffed at 0 or 7.5% were going to be raised to 25, which is a level that other products were already at. Now, there's a small volumes. China does not send a lot of steel and aluminum to the U.S. right now, but they were expected to increase if the U.S. didn't apply these tariffs, or at least that's the Biden administration's position. They wanted to get ahead of what could be a wave of steel and aluminum. So they've been sort of building towards this for a while. I should mention also the U.S. has launched an investigation into 301 tariffs potentially on the Chinese shipbuilding industry. So really you can see this sort of building escalation. And of course, hanging in the air is the question of whether and how China will retaliate or respond.